Hello and welcome into another edition of my CD pickups. I know it's been a while, but I've got some absolute gems in here, if I do say so myself. Excuse me. Hopefully, it's been worth the wait. Yeah, apologize about the light in here. It's kind of sucks. Um, I've got like a light on, and I've got like the window open a little bit. I don't know. It's kind of hard when it's not that bright outside, but yeah, I'm sure it will do. Yeah, let's just get stuck in, shall we? Let's start off with something that's not a West Coast album for sure. It's still a pretty good album. I wouldn't quite call it a gem though. Master Killer's No Said Date, which came out in 2004. I always liked this album. I heard it around the time it came out, and I've always liked it. Pretty cool album. A lot of people overlook this. A lot of people overlook Master Killer in general because the way, it took so long for him to put out an album. Um, it came out in 2004. You know what I mean? I consider the first Wu solo album to beat the Cal, and the reason why I say that is because I know Words from the Genius the Genius or Jizza came out in '91, but that's pre Wu. You know what I mean? Like so, yeah. Technically, that is you know it's the first solo album by a Wu Tang Clan member, but it's not the first Wu solo album. If you know what I mean. I know I'm being a bit pedantic, but yeah, that's just my opinion. Yeah, obviously the Cal came out in '94, and yeah, for this to come out 10 years later, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, Master Killer, he's pretty cool, and I like the beats and stuff like that on here, for the most part, and I think it's a pretty good album. Digi Warfare has always been my favorite. This also comes with a bonus DVD as well, which I've have not watched. So yeah. Have to give a shout out to my man, the hip hop enthusiast, because he put me onto the fact that Amazon were selling these like, the sellers on Amazon were selling new copies of these like really cheap, like 30p plus shipping, like crazy. Yeah, so pretty cool. Yeah, definitely well worth getting. No Said Date came out in 2004. The next album I'm going to talk about is Master Killer's second album, actually, Made in Brooklyn. I saw this for the same price, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? To be honest with you, I've only listened to it once because I don't think it's that good. Um, yeah, he's got like a lot of like guest producers on here. He's got like MF Doom on here and PF Cutton and Pete Rock. But like it just doesn't. I don't know. I just don't think the beats are that good, and the album just doesn't really come together. Um, Couple of decent songs, It's What It Is with Raekwon and Ghostface Killer. That's pretty good. And I believe what song is it? Iron God Chamber featuring RZA, Method Man, and You God. That's pretty cool too. But I don't know. It's just it really didn't make much of an impression on me on first listen. But I usually like to listen to things multiple times before I do these videos. But no, Made in Brooklyn just didn't cut the mustard. But yeah, interestingly, he did a remake of the song "Pass the Bone" on here. And for those who don't know, "Pass the Bone" was originally a song by The Genius. It did appear on Words from the Genius, but not on the first 1991 pressing. It came out on the '94 pressing. The red cover, the red with like Jiz's face on it on the side. That version, and that's actually the one I have. I don't have the one with him leading over the book. Yeah, so Pass the Bone appeared on that version. They took off the song "Come Do Me," which was like the single from '91, which is a terrible song. Funny music video though. Go go check that out. Yeah, so Made in Brooklyn, not that good. I don't know why he covered Past the Bone either. It's weird. It's weird. So yeah, let's move on. Let's talk about this corrupt space. What's this called? Space Boogie Smoke Odyssey. Yep, that's the one. This is his third album. Came out in 2001. Pretty good album. Like not like amazing, but it's pretty solid. There's some pretty like whack hooks and stuff like that. It falls apart quite a bit towards the end, I have to say. But pretty the song with Fred Durst on it's just horrible. But yeah, some pretty good features on here. You got Daz, obviously, Nate Dogg, DJ Quick, Lil Half Dead, MC Ren. It's pretty decent album, um, for the most part. Not as good as the second album, Streets Is a Mother. And I've never actually really listened to his first album, Corruption, which is like a double disc album with like one disc being like West Coast influence stuff, and like the other this being East Coast influence stuff, which is kind of a neat idea, especially considering Corrupt's actually originally from Philly. But yeah, I've heard that album's not that good, but I still want to get it someday just for the crack. So yeah, this is my my dad actually bought me, so shout out to him. He got it as like a surprise. So there you go. From my Amazon wish list. So there you go. Yeah, that's Corrupt's third album. Pretty solid. It's not his best, but definitely it's probably definitely not his worst either. Even though I haven't heard that much from him overall, but I'm sure he's put out a lot worse than that. Let's get into some soundtracks here. First soundtrack I'm going to show off is the Dangerous Ground soundtrack, which the film stars Ice Cube. Of course, I haven't seen it because I'm a bell end when it comes to films, but yeah, of course Ice Cube's on here with the song "The World Is Mine," which sounds like a West Coast, West Side Connection, like kind of leftover song, from Bow Down. The beat's kind of similar, and just kind of has that kind of feel to it. Not a pretty good song. Um, oh, I think it's interesting how he shouts out like Dub C, Mac 10, K-Dee, and Caution, because I don't know, Caution split up in '97, I think, so that's kind of interesting. Um, this was put out by Jive, actually, the soundtrack, so you got quite a lot of Jive artists on here. Sally Cell comes good with a song that wasn't on Killer Kelly, The Only Way, so that's a pretty banging track. Definitely worth checking out. Keith Murray, Dangerous Ground, which is on his Enigma album. We've got Mystical on here. Who else is on here? Be Legit's on here with the song Ghetto Smile, which is on the Hemp Museum. KRS-One with a terrible song called Perhaps She'll Die. That's just rubbish. Uh, I love KRS, but that's terrible. Um, Two Shorts on here featuring UGK, The Click, Spice One with Two Hands and a Razor, which would later appear on the Black Bossolini album. Yeah, pretty good overall. And then you've got some other artists just kind of to round things out. You've got Jay Z on here. You've got like a female posse cut kind of thing with like MC Light, Bahamadia, Nonchalant, and Yo Yo, kind of cool. There's a song with K-Dee on here. Who else is on here? Yeah, pretty good soundtrack. If anyone knows more about the artist Little Dodo, he's does the last song, Chocolate Chips, that would be interesting because in the liner notes, apparently he was signed to Lynch Mob Records. Oh, the light nearly went out there. Apparently he was signed to the Lynch Mob Records, so, but I've never heard of him, and I don't think he's ever put an album or anything. So if anyone has any information about Little Dodo, that would be excellent. Yeah. Yeah, good soundtrack actually. Pretty solid. That came out in 1997. In case I didn't say. Uh, Next up, we've got another soundtrack. The original Gangsta soundtrack came out in 1996, and this one was put out by New Tribe. And New Tribe, for those who don't know, at the time were Rap-A-Lot's distributor, so you did get some Rap-A-Lot artists on here. You got the Ghetto Boys with the song "World Is a Ghetto," which was on the Resurrection. Who else is on here? N.O. Joe, which was like mainly a producer at Rap a Lot, does a song with Third Degree. Face Mob with Scarface, they're on here. The Mighty RSO, which was like a early group with like Benzino, they were signed to Rap a Lot. I think their only album came out in Rap a Lot. They did like an EP before that. Yeah, that song's featuring Mob Deep. Pretty good. It was a pretty solid soundtrack. There's some like terrible R&B songs in here, but yeah, MC Ren's on here, Spice One's on here again, The Click's on here again, Ice T's on here. The terrible Ice T song. It's like a remember his sixth album, Return of the Real. You know those really. I think it had like one or two like really whack like love songs thrown in there for some reason, and that's like one of those. It's kind of like a leftover. It sounds like that. Looney's on here as well. Pretty good soundtrack. I do like it. Nice mix of like some southern stuff and like some West Coast stuff. It's actually mostly West Coast actually, despite the new tribe connection. But yeah, pretty cool. Free Times Crazy on there as well. Yeah. So that's the original Gangsta soundtrack that came out in 1996. I've got another soundtrack to show, but I don't have an actual case for it, and I'll explain why uh, right now. I actually bought a CD, which I'll show up later on from Discogs, and the guy free on a free CD because I was like a returning customer, and he gave me the Dysfunctional Family soundtrack. That's what the disc looks like. And yes, it was put out by The Row Records, which was Death Row, of course, when they were trying to rebrand and revigorate themselves in the 2000s. This came out in 2003. Dysfunctional Family. It's like some film with like Kevin Griffin or something. Um, there's the booklet. I don't have the case, but the booklet, which has says in the front, a bunch of the different artists: Ja Rule, Jay Z, Ashanti, whatever. Juvenile, Corrupt, Crooked Eye, Nina, Danny Boy, oh yes, and Eastwood. Yeah, Corrupt. This was around the time when Corrupt like came back and like wasn't he running things for a while at Death Row? Yeah, not that good. I haven't listened to all of this to be honest because I got it for free and I'm not really that bothered about it. But yeah, not that good. Not that good. I've heard like 3 or 4 songs and it's like okay, it's not like horrible, but I think actually Crooked Eye's a pretty good rapper, but like I don't know. This just doesn't do much for me. Yeah, forgettable 2000s hip hop, not that good. So that's, there you go. There's a weird one for you. I'm gonna take a swig of water actually, because my voice is getting all messed up. Yeah, that's better. So let's get stuck into another 1p banana. No, not bonanza. What am I talking about? Naughty by Nature, 1993. This is their. I consider it their second album. I know they had an album called. No, not an album, but they had an album under the name The New Style before, but I think when you rename yourself, it's kind of like a reboot situation. You know what I mean? I consider this their second album. Been trying to get this for a while, but I have to give another shout out to hip hop enthusiasts because I I've had this on my wish list for ages, and it was kind of like weirdly expensive. Like not expensive, but more than it should be. But then he was like, "No, you can get it for 1p," and I was like, "Really?" And then I checked, and it's like, "Yeah." Just the one in my wish list was listed differently, and it was more expensive. Amazon's like that sometimes. If you're buying stuff from Amazon, it sometimes pays to like type in not only just the artist into the search bar, but the album name as well, and you sometimes get like multiple listings for the same album, which is a bit strange. Sometimes it's like different issues and that sort of thing. Um, yeah, enough about that. Let's talk about the album. Obviously, everyone knows Hip Hop Hooray. But my favorite song in here is "Daddy Was a Street Corner." I think it's a very enjoyable album. I know some people. I don't know. There's some people who don't really like this album. I think they consider it kind of weak compared to the self-titled one. And I know that Poverty's Paradise has its cult following as well. But I still thought this was a very good album. So yeah, definitely well worth checking out. Good beats and stuff like that. And Tretch is just great. Yeah, can't say a bad thing about Tretch. So that's 1993. Came out in 1993. Next one. This might seem a bit random, but I'll explain. Obi Trice Cheers. This came out in 2003. I remember this album when it first came out. I remember seeing they got some Teeth music videos. Occasionally, I have to say Obi Trice didn't really blow up. He didn't really blow up over here. He didn't. I don't know. He just did not take off. Maybe it was because everyone was paying attention to like 50 Cent and stuff like that. He obviously came out earlier on in the year. But yeah, I always liked Obi Trice. I think out of all the people that Eminem's ever tried to put on, I think he's one of the best ones. I always liked his voice, and I always thought he was good on the mic and stuff like that. Um, this album is still pretty good. I think the beats are, I don't know, like Eminem's production. I don't know. It just hasn't stood the test of time for me. I don't know. It just doesn't. I don't know. It's not bad by any means, but yeah, it's a good album. It's really long though. Especially I have the version which has like 2 bonus songs, and it's just stupidly long. It's like 79 minutes long, which makes it the longest album that I have as far as like a single CD album goes. So yeah, that's just far too long, but it's a pretty good album. That's Obi Trice. Cheers. And I also bought Obi Trice's second album, Second Rounds on Me, which came out in 2006. And you might be thinking, why on earth are you buying all those? Well, the answer to that is Obi Trice is actually playing over here very soon, and I'm actually going to go to the show. So I thought, let's get into the Obi Trice spirit and listen to these. I've actually never had listened to this one before. This came out in 2006, and I don't remember it coming out at all. Apparently, Snitch was a big single, but I just don't. Maybe it wasn't a big single over here. I just don't remember it. Which features Akon, and yeah, I remember Akon. He was like on everyone's song back in like 2006. Yeah, whatever happened to him, I don't know. Pretty good album though. It's not as good as the other one. I think it's got quite a lot of like commercial, like clubby songs, which I'm not a big fan of. But pretty cool though. I like the song "Wanna Know." That's pretty dope. But yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Not amazing by any means, but second rounds on me by Obi Trice came out in 2006. In case I didn't say it. Next one is another album for came out in 2006. Not really a hip hop album per se, but I thought I'd throw it in because it has elements of hip hop in it. The album I'm talking about is Pete and Tom's self-titled album, which came out in 2006, as I mentioned. For those who don't know, Pete and Tom was a experimental, project by Mike Patton, who was, the lead singer of bands like Faith No More, Mr. Bungle, Tomahawk, Phantom Mass, and more, more. And yeah, this is like a weird album. It's got like a mix of like hip hop, trip hop, pop, electronica, and rock kind of all thrown together. And I've always really liked this album. I've listened to this album for years. Um, I remember seeing it back in like 2007 and wanting to get it, but it was always like one of those albums that was quite expensive. And yeah, I managed to get this for like next to nothing online, so that's good. Yeah, he works with like a lot of guest musicians on here, both like producers and like guest vocalists. You've got people like Dan the Automator on here, Amon Tobin's on here, Massive Attacks on here, and then you've got like a guest vocalist. Cool Keith's on here. Who else is on here? Nora Jones is on here. Why not? Razel, the beatboxer, he's on a song. So yeah, I've always really liked this album. Probably not for everyone, but worth checking out if that sounds interesting to you. And I've always thought this packaging was great. Let's see if I can get it out. It's a bit stiff. I did buy it used, so it's a bit stiff. But yeah, you pull it from the side, and the disc slides out. Isn't that cool? It's supposed to slide out a bit more than that. There we go. Yeah, it's a little bit stiff, the one that I've got, but does the job. So yeah, that's Peeping Tom. Came out in 2006. So this is where all of the West Coast gems start dropping. And yeah, first of all, we've got a batch of Japanese reissues of albums that previously used to be out of print and used to go for a lot of money. Um, First album that I want to show off is J.O. Felony's Take a Ride, which came out in 1995. This came out on JMJ Records, which was Jam Master Jay's record label. Um, most most successful group from there was Onyx, of course, but he also put on J.O. Felony, and very good album, really good album actually. I think this is a really good West Coast album, like dark, gritty, but it's still got that like sort of banging G funk sound. Really good. The song "Can't Keep a G Line" is probably my favorite, but this is great. Not a bad thing to say about this one. I'd also have a second album as well, which I shown not too long ago, either in the last video or the one before it. But yeah, this is definitely a lot better, and really don't see people ever talk about this album, but it's really good. I've definitely urge people to go check that one out. So yep, that's J.O. Felony Take a Ride, which came out in '95. Next album, as I mentioned, never this is going to be a Japanese reissue as well. South Central Cartel's All Day Every Day, which came out in 1997. Again, never kind of slept on album, which I never really see two people talk about. I actually never really see people talk about South Central Cartel in general. And if I do see people talk about them, it's generally about their second album, which is called In Gas We Trust, which came out in '94, which I want to get someday. I've heard bits of it, and it's very good. And I've actually listened to all of their first album as well, South Central Madness, which is pretty dope as well. I know they have an album like it's like called Murder Squad, something something. It's technically like a South Central Cartel album, but I don't know. It's kind of considered like an offshoot rather than like a proper South Central Cartel album. Even though this is like a weird, like this is almost like a Havoc and Prodigy album, you know what I mean? It's pretty much just them on it, But I guess they called it a South Central Cartel album for marketing purposes, you know. Of course, when I say Havoc and Prodigy, I don't mean Havoc and Prodigy from Mobb Deep. I mean these guys, which same names but different spelling and all that. And they actually give like a little, I would not a shout out, but yeah, like a cool little nod to Mobb Deep in one of the songs in here. I think it's cool. Shaking people up like Mobb Deep, something like that. They say it's pretty cool. Very good album. Great beats on here, and yeah, I think these are really good MCs as well. Yeah, I definitely recommend checking this album out. Um, what else was I gonna say? I don't know. Something brilliant, I'm sure. Nah. Yeah, South Central Cartel all day, every day. That's a very good album. It came out in 1997. Even though they make a lot of references to the fact that it came out in '96. And the thing that I want to mention is just the fact that it's really long. It's like 71 minutes long. It's too long, but yeah, still a very good album. And here's the last of the Japanese reissues I got. It is Compton's Most Wanted's first album, which came out in 1990. This is one of those ones where they didn't keep the original back and they replaced it and just gave it like a plain black back. But that's okay. It doesn't bother me too much. But yeah, just really happy to have this. Original version goes for quite a bit of money, and yeah, which is weird. I don't know why, because the other straight checking them and music to drive by are like so cheap. So I don't know what happened there. Must be different labels or something like that. Yeah, really good album. One time we got them up. This is Compton, Duck Sick, Late Night Hype. Really like this whole album. It's like laid back, but it's gritty. It's really gritty as well. I really like it. It's a really unique sound. I know a lot of people. Well, not a lot of people, but I'm sure when people like first see these guys, they assume that they're like NWA knockoffs, but they couldn't be any more different, in actuality. So yeah, Compton's Most Wanted. It's a Compton thing. Came out in 1990. Yeah. Next album, very happy to have. Pretty rare, but yeah, really happy to get this. Above the Law's fourth album, Time Will Reveal, which came out in 1996. This is their first album on Tommy Boy. Yeah, yeah, Tommy Boy. Yeah, yeah, first album on Tommy Boy. They're most well known though, for their Ruthless Records albums, particularly their first one, Living Like Hustlers, and their third one, Uncle Sam's Curse. Those are like their two biggest albums. Um, Speaking of Ruthless, today the news came out that Jerry Heller died, so rest in peace to him. I know he's not like the best person in the world, but he did do a lot for hip hop, so I just thought I'd throw that out there. Um, yeah, I always really liked this album. I've been trying to get this for a while, but like I said, it's the rarest album that they ever put out, and seems to go for quite a bit of money online. But I'm managed to get it for a good price. I'm just super happy to have it. The song "100 Spokes," which I think is the main single, love that song. Really, really good, and I just think this has good beats all the way through it. Cool 187, very underrated MC slash producer. And yeah, I think it's a very good album. Definitely worth checking out anyway. Um, not their best album, but it's still pretty damn good. So that's Above the Law, Time Will Reveal, which came out in '96. And I was in like a real Above the Law like mood at the time, and I also bought Above the Law Legends, which came out in '98. Not that great. This is their second and last album under Tommy Boy. Not that great, but I've listened to it like 3 or 4 times, and it has grown on me slowly but surely over time. It's not too bad. It's one of those albums where nothing really stands out about it. It's all the same kind of feel all the way through it, if you know what I mean. Um, not a bad album, but it's not that good. It's kind of, I would say it's optional. If you're going for the Above the Law stuff, I would go for the first four albums. And I want to get their vocally pimpin' EP, which came out in '91 as well. But yeah, it's quite rare. Excuse me. All right, getting there. We're getting there. It's one of my longest pickup videos of all time. It's because I keep on waffling and talking shite. So next one, album that I'm very happy to have, Volume 10, Hip Opera, which came out in 1994. He's West Coast, but not really. He doesn't like go for the typical like G funk thing, which everyone was doing in '94. If anything, his beats kind of remind me more of like Cypress Hill or King T or like No Need for Alarm era, Del the Funky Homo Sapien, like stuff like that. More grittier and more sort of I don't know. Yeah, it's just different sound compared to what other people were doing at the time. I believe he's affiliated with like Freestyle Fellowship. It's not, yeah, and like the heavyweights or whatever. Not really familiar with them, but I've always known about him because of the song Pistol Grip Pump, which is by far the biggest song of his career. But this is a very good album overall. I really like the title track, and yeah, it's just a very good album overall. His flow is just crazy, very unusual. Like I said, not only are the beats different for most West Coast compared to most West Coast guys, but his flows like that unorthodox like offbeat kind of style, which is you just don't usually get with a West Coast guy. So yeah, Volume 10 hip hop. We're really happy to have this. So yeah, this came out in 1994. Here's another. I probably should have showed this one after the above the law ones because there's a ruthless tie there, but oh well. MC Ren, Shock of the Hour, again another gem that I was really happy to pick up. Been trying to get this for a while, and yeah, but definitely his rarest work as well. Um, yeah, Shock of the Hour. This is his first proper album. He had an EP called Kiss My Black Ass that came out in '92. This album's interesting because half of the songs were originally intended for his next album, which is going to be called Life Sentence. But during the making of the album, he converted to the Nation of Islam, and the last half of the album sort of reflects that. His change up in lyrics and stuff like that. Um, Very good album. I really love the dark production on here, and just MC Ren's great. He's not quite as like fast on the mic as he was on like the NWA albums or the Kiss My Black Ass EP. He slows down a little bit on here, but still dope. Really, really good. I always love the song "Same Old Shit." That beat is just fantastic. So yeah, really love the production throughout this entire thing. Yeah, that's MC Ren. Shock of the Hour came out in '93. We're getting near the end. Next one is K-Dee, Ass, Gas, or Cash. No One Rides for Free. This came out in 1994. Most well known for being an Ice Cube affiliate. He was in the group CIA with Ice Cube, before NWA. And yeah, he actually remained friends with Ice Cube for quite a long time. I don't know if he still is because, as we all know, Ice Cube has a reputation for falling out with everyone. But yeah, he was actually cool with Ice Cube for quite a long time, and they eventually managed to get this album out on Lynch Mob Records. Pretty rare. Really, really happy to have it. Um, it's kind of like a slower, kind of really smooth, laid back kind of pimp album. Really, really good stuff. Um, well worth checking out. The freshest MC in the world is like the main single. Either that or hitting corners, but I always like the freshest MC in the world. It just cracks me up because he always goes on about how good he is and stuff like that. And he's really not that amazing, but it's the fact that he just sells it so well. I don't know. It's kind of amusing to me. And yeah, the production on this is pretty fantastic as well. From Ice Cube and Madness for Real and someone else. The name slipping me. Someone else does production on there, but yeah, that's a really good album. K-Dee, Ask Gas or Cash came out in '94, and the last one is an album that I've been trying to get for a very long time, and I'm so happy to finally have it. Caution, South Central Los Scandalous. This came out in 1995. Um, yeah, absolutely love this album. Again, affiliate with Ice Cube. Again, put out on Lynch Mob Records. And both of these albums were so poorly distributed and talked about. Like these albums are so hard to get, and just it's really poorly promoted. This album should be like seen as like a West Coast classic, in my opinion. It's that good. It really is that good. If you haven't heard it, go check it out. Fantastic stuff. There's not a bad track on this. My favorite song is "Land of the Scandalous," which was one of the singles. But Bounce Rock K-Dee's actually on this, actually on the song "Super Sperm." Yeah, very very good. Yeah, I can't say anything bad about it. Caution, South Central Los Scandalous. So happy to finally have that one. I'm going to shut up now because I've been talking for far too long. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know I hope I had a lot of stuff to get through, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.